New centralized federal government and a strained economy, a case study for leaders of the APC as they seek ways of ending Nigeria's turbulent economic times. And the words of caution continue to reign in as Professor Wale Soyinka and the Emir of Kano asked President Muhammadu Buhari to act fast on issues relating to the economy and on the crisis in the Niger Delta. That's our focus on the program. Many thanks for joining in, everyone. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. We're reaching you from our global headquarters in Lagos. I'm Sean Wakimbaloe. Well, let's take a quick look at some of the top political stories we're following for you at this time.
Political roundup on Channels Television. Here are your top political stories this time.
The waves of crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party national leadership is already having a torrential effect in some states. In Imo State, both Ali Modu Sheriff-led faction and Ahmed McCarthy factions are both laying claims to be the leadership of the party in the state. There are now two chairmen, and each of them claims it's the authentic leadership. At a press conference in Owerri, the Imo State capital, southeast Nigeria, the Ahmed McCarthy-led committee, which has its chairman as Chief Charles Ezekwem, said in a bid to reconcile both factions, an 18-man reconciliation committee has been set up to be headed by former PDP governorship aspirant Professor Jude Njoku to reconcile both factions. Meanwhile, the Ali Modu Sheriff-led faction in the state, headed by Barrister Nnamdi Anyahi, has insisted that their faction remains the authentic one, and any peace move should be within the McCarthy-led faction, as no one has informed them of any peace or reconciliation meeting. The controversies caused by the 2016 budget is perhaps not abated, but the pants ahead of next and beyond appears to be in the works. In this light, the Federal Executive Council has approved a 3-year fiscal strategy framework. The document, known as the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, kickstarts the process for the preparation of the 2017 budget.
Government intends to intensify efforts in pursuing non-oil-driven economy.
And the role of the military in Nigeria's democracy has been assessed at the Nigerian Bar Association annual conference in Port Harcourt. The military's role in elections and their interventions have over the years come under scrutiny. One of the speakers at the conference once again takes the case up.
Democracy does not depend on the military. The reason is obvious. That is why 21 countries in the world, they don't have military at all. So if the military were a democratic institution, it would be impossible to have a nation with democracy and no military.
And you're up to date. Those are your top political stories you need to know.
Thank you so much for staying with us, everyone. Let's go into some issues relating to the elections in Edo State. Well, the Edo governorship election is just a few weeks away, and as part of security efforts to ensure a peaceful conduct of the September 10, 2016 poll, the Nigeria Police Force says it will provide 23,000 officers, 1,152 patrol vehicles, and among other logistics for the exercise. The Deputy Inspector General of Police Operations, Mr. Joshua Habila, disclosed this while addressing officers of the Edo State Police Command at the force headquarters in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
The first thing that happened was the continuous voter registration exercise. We provided security. That exercise went on hitch-free. A few infractions were made on the law, 3 infractions as a matter of fact. I am glad to inform you that the 3 cases are in court.
Well, we follow those developments happening within the Edo State jurisdiction so that we get to you some of the details coming in preparations for the election. Well, away from that now, it is not the best of time for the Buhari government and those directly in charge of the nation's economy. For the governors, especially the ones in the APC, the tormenting or rather biting outlook of the economy is making everyone to think of the best ways out of the current sour realities. The governors and other leaders of the APC at the 4th Progressive Governance Lecture Series of the party in Kaduna, the Kaduna State capital. The leaders are thinking of ways to turn around the economy to ease the pains on the average Nigerian. Former governor of the CBN, Charles Soludo, was a keynote speaker at the event, and the vice president, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, was also at the event.
Nigeria is facing an unprecedented economic crisis, most of it arising from circumstances of the present and the past. The worst job in Nigeria today is to be a state governor, because we are having to deal with inherited problems that we did not have a hand in making, but we have a duty to solve.
One of the critical problems that we have is just that capacity to ensure that we're able to see things through, start and finish. And for me, one of the great frustrations of governance is the fact that yes, there are so many great ideas, yet yes, there are so many great thoughts, but there just is that innate difficulty of completing things, concluding things.
We live with a burden of poor performance in many of the targets set in the MDGs. The most glaring is the galloping divide between the few rich and the many who are poor. Official estimates put the number of Nigerians living below the poverty line at over 112.519 million. Simply put, 70% of Nigerians earn less than 400 naira per day.
If you want an inclusive development, we must begin to think about how we break out these dynasties of poverty through qualitative but accessible education and health. If the poor doesn't have that, if it doesn't have the skills, and therefore to have the capacity to be able to participate in the production process, it will not be able to share in the result of the output. APC needs to come clean with Nigerians. That's my fundamental thesis here. They need to realize that the old Nigeria of rent is no longer. And then, very importantly, explain to Nigerians the agenda, the steps that it hopes to take to go from here to there.
Very interesting dimensions generated conversations over there. But we come back, and when we come back from this break, we'll discuss deeply into this matter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.